All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first day of earnings season is in the books. I don't know how we did it, even though State Street and Schwab, their earnings, they weren't the best, but the bank stocks all went up. We have a lot more in the morning. Bank of America, Bank of New York Mellon, even Goldman Sachs, that's all in the morning. So by the time we wake up, we're going to get all of that. But you see this right here, Netflix, baby. The first big tech earnings is tomorrow, and I have a breakdown for you. So I actually want to go over Netflix's earnings. That's what we're going to spend this video on today. And we're going to talk some of the fun facts because this is a very interesting spot for young Netflix. Not only have they grown a lot, that's Love is Blind. You guys see Love is Blind anyway, but the point is they got a lot going on. We're going to talk about it. They're at a very interesting level, but now coming into tomorrow, this is our first set of tech earnings, and how this plays out, we're going to know, is tech really the safe haven? How are people really feeling about no landing, soft landing, but more so just the whole environment? And now does technology and do any of these tech stocks, do they try to lean into the bad bank stuff to guide up or down? So pretty much first tech earnings, going to be huge. Got to talk about Netflix, and it's going to be wild. And the best part is we're going to go over all this analysis with Netflix, but you have till the end of the day tomorrow to make your play, all right? So let's run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 last shit. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the last shit, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, so here's the deal with Netflix. Their last earnings was January 19th, 2023. We've already got to hear from them last year. The interesting part, they're trading at the exact same price as their last earnings. Now, this is the guidance that they put out. You could get this on the investor relation website. And if you notice all the way to the end where it says forecast, this is what they have for the expectation. So it's like 8.1 billion in revenue, 3.9% year over year growth. That's all of the financial numbers. Is that going to be important tomorrow? Yes, it is. But if you noticed on the forecast side, you keep going down there. There's no other numbers. That is because Netflix stopped giving guidance on their subscriber numbers. So they don't give an official guidance. So I have a number to look for, and we are going to go over that, but that's something to keep in mind. Even though they don't give guidance on this number, the last two earnings, these massive subscriber beats, that has fueled a lot of the move. Even on the January 19th earnings, you'll see that was a big move after the earnings, and then it even had another $30 continuation. So these are the base numbers of what we're working with tomorrow, but now let's talk about the thing that is actually going to drive the price of Netflix. The first thing that it's going to be, and just because we've already just talked about it, and this is what a lot of people focus on, it will have to do with those subscriber numbers. Do they add more people? Is it domestic? Is it overseas? That number is going to be important. So like I told you, they don't give a guidance, but based on analysts and what people are saying right now, the number is 2.4 million subscriptions. So that's something you want to keep in mind tomorrow. If that number is higher or lower, you will get some sort of reaction, not to mention how people react to revenue, margin, all that other good stuff. But that's the first thing. But now, given how the last quarters have played out, this is why I thought we should make this video and talk about it. Yes, we have let Netflix in the long term, but just keep in mind what's been going on with this stock. The other two big things going on right now, the first one is advertising, and it's been about 2 quarters. There was a lot of hype, especially when the stock was at the lows and started to move up. You've got a lot of news and even some updates on the last earnings, but based on the last 2 earnings, it's still not a comprehensive amount of detail. So whatever we hear about advertising, whether it got better or not, more specific numbers, more updates, that will be a big driver of earnings here this quarter. Tomorrow, we're going to see what happens with it. That's the first thing. The second thing now, we're talking about Netflix, baby. This is what everybody hates, the password sharing. So Believe it or not, this is actually going to be a big deal tomorrow, because remember how they came out with the plan and then they like kind of paused it and then they said we're pausing on implementing the password sharing program. Well, there's been a lot of back and forth with that, but depending on what they did and how customers reacted, that's going to have a big effect on the stock. But I'll tell you right now, what a lot of analysts are saying is that given that they went forward with the plan and then pulled back because of the reaction, people are thinking that's going to have a positive effect now because they pretty much backed away from making people make new accounts. So we're going to see how that plays out, but the update and strategy and guidance around that is going to be the next big focus here for Netflix and their earnings. So besides the subscriber growth, the main two things: number one, what's happening with their advertising; number two, what is happening with the password sharing. But now a third thing, not as big, and we're going to see how it plays out tomorrow. They made a lot of price cuts in like Latin America and I think India. People want to see, did any of those price cuts, did they fuel anything in the last couple of quarters? Because they were cutting prices when inflation was a lot worse. Things are better. The economy hasn't collapsed. Well, that's what we're going to find out if people signed up or not with Netflix and all of that. So that's the main focus for tomorrow. The only other thing that I'm going to add to that is that we should watch to see if yearly guidance is affirmed or not. This goes for any company this quarter. If any company changes their yearly guidance and lowers it, that won't be good. So pretty much the last couple of quarters of Netflix, they have been good. So what we want to see is guidance either stay the same or get better. If it changes negatively, doesn't matter what we get on any of that reports, because a big guidance shift on the yearly, that may upset people a little bit more if it is not favorable. So that's going to be the only other factor. But now let's talk about the good stuff with Netflix. As far as what is priced in for the movement, it's looking like 8.1%. Now, I'll check this. I'm talking to you. I'm not in front of my option chain right now. I'll have a screenshot here. What you got to do is take the at the money strike prices. That will tell you the predicted move for earnings. So it's looking about 8 to 10%. I think we checked this morning. It was just under 10%. So that sounds about right. The average price target is about $366 on Netflix right now. And that's about 10% current upside from the price that it's on here. Then EPS has beaten 6 of the last 12 quarters, and shares of Netflix are down 3% year over year, while the S&P is down 5.9. And now these are some of the fun facts I want to talk about, because coming in tomorrow, you have the basic guidance. We're going to see, and this should prepare you for when that release comes out. You have all day tomorrow. I made a play on the pre-earnings run up. I own it in my long term, but the thing we're talking about here, you have the tech stocks now finally reporting. So I think this is going to be big just by the nature of it. And now it'll be the first one. And this is going to have a lot of implications. People are going to tie it into the consumer. But another thing about Netflix, I think this is going to be a huge earnings for them. They're coming off of this recovery. They were just off of their lows. But like I'm telling you, where this stock trades right now, very interesting price. So take a look on the 1 year, like literally you're trading a couple of bucks within where it was at the last earnings. They're just barely down from literally where it was at in the last 1 year. This is a 1 year chart that you're looking at, but trust me, it gets better. Pull this chart back out. Let's go to 5 years. Netflix is trading at the exact same price it was trading at in 2020, which was off of the highs of 2019, which was still kind of like a high level for Netflix because they were running the 5 years before that. So this is a very crucial price. Again, a lot of people have assumed a lot of good and bad about Netflix, but what I'm saying here, this earnings, it could set the tone for a lot of tech stocks, but now for Netflix, it's going to send them back to like 2018 and below levels, or this is going to sustain all of their modern gains since post 2020. I guess it was already modern. You know what I'm saying, but that's why I think it's going to be big. I like Netflix. I would wait till this earnings to decide. Do I think you could scale in and make a gamble on this play, or try to lead in and try to, scale in? Again, a farmer who waits for perfection never plants. But in general, this earnings season, I'm very uncertain about a lot. I'm just going to go for pre-earnings run up. So that's the play I made on Netflix. I think we made another play there on Tesla that I was already holding. But really, for a lot of these plays, I think these earnings will be pivotal. but I'm more favorable playing them afterwards. So what I'm trying to say, wait till Netflix if that's really what you want. And the only example I have is Meta. They were kind of recovering if you waited for the last earnings. If you waited till earnings, you had to pay a premium the next day, but it hasn't came any lower since then. So it's kind of finding the balance. We talked about this today. The way I have it, I'm sitting on a little bit of cash. So since I'm already invested 90% of my portfolio, I'm okay with missing out. And thankfully, Netflix, if it does come back to the prices we bought it at, I'm definitely going to be a bigger buyer there. So we'll see, but hopefully you like this breakdown. Let me know if you want any other companies this week. Let me know if this was a good focus. As far as today, like I told you, you already had everything. If anything, this is coming true. The bank fear is dissipating, even though we have finally had bad banks. State Street and Schwab. Schwab said they're cutting buybacks because of the situation. Their deposits went down like 30% year over year. State Street, they also declined and had a deposit withdrawal, but all of these stocks, they opened up lower. Even regional banks, they were near the lows today, and then they bounced. So people are saying, yeah, regionals were bad. It could have been worse. The big banks are winning, and now we wait for tech and everything else. So even part of today, one thing we talked about last week, it looks like we may get this. If bank stocks end up doing good, I would not be surprised to watch people rotate out of tech ahead of earnings, get into the banks now that they know there's not a bigger problem, and then wait for the earnings to report to really confirm, okay, tech is going to be the safe haven. Let's ride it out through the summer. So we'll see what happens, but all in all, today was a lot of craziness. The one thing I will say, it's all about earnings. You're going to get these movements. I think tomorrow morning, J&J, all the other big banks, we're going to get a lot of movement. It's going to react more pre-market, maybe the first hour. Then we're going to do nothing. Then everyone's going to set up at the end of the day for Netflix. Then depending on Netflix and then the other companies in the morning, that's going to guide us up. So this weird, like choppy back and forth, it's not that weird. It's just earnings season. So I hope you're ready for all of it, Chad, but it's going to be fun. We're already having fun this far. So that's it, man. I hope you enjoyed your watch list. That is it. Drink that water. Stay hydrated. I'm about to break this? I didn't realize I've never really banged down on this table. But Chad, I love you. Stay in the game. You're ready to go. I need you to make anything out of any situation. Can you make something out of anything? If you do, there's a spot here in the cult for you and in general in life and happiness, baby. You know what I'm saying? I hope they feel me, bro. But Chad, I love you. I'll see you in the morning. We will be there after hours for Netflix. So I hope I see you there on stream, baby. Have a wonderful night and peace. Turn.